Anyway, folks, welcome to episode 2 of Yogi Dave's Hobby Podcast. I am Yogi Dave, or Dave Muir, or whatever you want to call me. I've been called many nicknames or many names over the years, so don't really matter to me. So this podcast, if you haven't listened to episode 1, is essentially a hobby podcast. Or my hobby podcast. It involves all the hobbies that I'm involved in. Gaming wise, that'll be board gaming, wargaming, roleplay gaming, and all the stuff that it entails, like painting models, building terrain, all that kind of stuff. So basically, the first couple of podcasts are going to be me trying to figure out what I want to do with the podcast itself, because even though I've been talking about doing this for years and years, same with doing the YouTube channel that I just started a couple of months ago, is I've always had, this want to do these things, but I didn't have a bloody clue what I actually wanted to do. So a lot of it is going to be me. There will be lots of me ranting, because I do rant a lot, but there will also be a lot of me, talking about different subjects, talking about different things, really, over to figure out, like, if I want to do segments, if I want to do interviews, if I want to do whatever. First thing I'm going to talk about is the RPGs that I'm doing right now. So basically, tomorrow, which is Monday, I'm recording this Sunday night, I'm going to be doing the 2D20 version of Star Trek by Modifius. I can never remember what the name of the company actually is. So the 2D20 is pretty much their system. They use it for the Infinity RPG, which will be starting in 2 weeks. Oh no, a week tomorrow. They do it with Conan, Mutant Chronicles, the upcoming Vampire the Masquerade new set of rules. I think John Carter Mars is basically everything that they are doing right now and will be doing in the future, I believe, is getting to use the 2D20 system. Now I like it. It's different, I will grant you, but it's quite good. Different. Sometimes different isn't a good thing. Sometimes, there needs to be a bit of a shake-up. Like the new Warhammer 40k, it's a bit of a shake-up. It's different. It's not bad different. It's just different from the old way. Obviously, they've been using it with Age of Sigmar, but same kind of system. But I think it's a really good system, and that it gives you, it's 2D20. You might need 1 success, you might need 2 successes, you might need 3 successes, which means you need to get a critical on that roll, or you might need help of somebody in order to pass. So it encourages collaboration. Is the word. I can't even speak right now. Collaboration between yourself and the rest of your party a lot of the time, because there is a lot of times where you really need to pass this in order to advance or do whatever you need to do during the adventure or mission or whatever they call it for that particular version of the set of rules. So if you're using Conan, it's the adventure. If you're doing Star Trek, it's the mission. I'm not sure about Infinity. I actually need to sit and read the rules for Infinity. I've had them for months and months. I've had the player's copy printed off by one of my mates for months and months, and I've never actually sat and read them, which is kind of embarrassing, because I said I would and go through them, but I've had not a lot of time to do it. But I say I don't have a lot of time to do it, but yeah, I realised that I have had a lot of time off recently with being unemployed and everything, and commissions not coming in at a great rate at the moment, but there's been other stuff too. I mean, new dog, had him for 5 months, lots and lots and lots of work, because he's only almost a year old now, so he's lots of work, but that's beside the point entirely. The other thing about the D20, the 2D20 set of rules that I quite enjoy, is the fact that if you get a critical success, or more than one critical success, you get a bit of momentum, or 2 bits of momentum, but it also works in your detriment, as critical failure depends on like the kind of stuff that the GM or DM, GM, because it's a DM in D&D, GM everywhere else, pretty much same thing, but D&D have got their own fancy name for it, Dungeon Master, whereas everyone's just a games master and everything else. So he's got, I can't remember what they call it in Star Trek, but it's basically it can amp up what's going on with the people that you face, like the size of a wee party, or a squad of enemies or something like that. So it's quite interesting in that way. You can get your momentum, and you can get whatever it is they call it in Star Trek. But the good thing about it as well is they have quite well supported the set of rules, with constant updates, supplements, that's it, constant supplements, even little ones that add an adventure or what have you to your game. It's a nice thing, because quite often what you find is a new set of rules comes out, and it's not heavily supported, especially from somebody who, as far as I haven't, before Star Trek, I was never really aware of them. I know people that were aware of them, they'd seen the rules before, but it's not a big major company as far as I'm aware, so they have some major licenses. I haven't been out of the RPG game for a wee while, but they're still not one of the majors. So the fact that they're supporting it very well, at the same time supporting Infinity very well, going on very well, they support all of their systems very well. But that might be due to the fact that it's part of the contract that they do that, or the licensor, because they're the licensee, is helping them in that regard. You never know what you get from these kinds of things. Obviously Conan and John Carter are probably open to, I'm not sure who holds the copyright on both of them, and how old they are, and whether or not copyright, it becomes free to do whatever you want with it. I'm not really that down in copyright law, to be honest. I probably should be, because I'm doing podcasting myself, and I'm doing YouTube channels and all this, that kind of stuff, trying not to use any copyrighted work, or using it fair use, that kind of thing. That's why I don't have a theme tune. That's why I don't have any artwork or anything like that on my podcast or anything like that. I do have it on, I do use music on YouTube, but it's license free, and any pictures I use, I say, this is just depicting what I'm talking about, and if it's pictures I own because I've taken them or I've made them up, then that's fine. But I try to keep as much away from any of that kind of thing as I can. But I'm trying to think what I was talking about there. It was before the copyright stuff. So basically, it's very well supported, and I quite like that. I quite like the fact that they don't seem to be a major studio, but they support it very well. I felt with Through the Breach, it was supported to a point, and then kind of wasn't, and then kind of was. It's weird. I like the system with Through the Breach because it's the Fate Deck system, or a modified Fate Deck, at least modified Fate Deck system, at least, which I like because I like Malifaux and I like that. But I did feel that second edition came out very soon after first edition. Now that might be just that Weird realised that they didn't do such a great job, or didn't do as well a job as they wanted to do, which I don't think is the case, or it's just money making exercise, which fair enough, they're a company, they're allowed to make money, but it felt kind of sudden because there was a quicker turnaround between Through the Breach and Malifaux. When did I start Malifaux? Can't remember when second edition came out, but it was before I started playing. But by the time I started playing, they were on the second wave of Masters. So at least the second wave of Masters. I'm pretty sure the second supplement had come out by the time I started playing. So there is a long, a very short distance between first and second edition of Through the Breach, which is kind of annoying, but I don't think that will happen with Star Trek. I think there might be a second printing or a third printing, or however many printings they need, which obviously they've got the errata updated and all that kind of stuff, but I don't think that there will be a second edition of this anytime soon, which I don't want to see for various reasons. Mainly, I don't want to buy another copy anytime soon, because I paid for my own copy of the rules. What else? So in the base game there are 3 periods of play. So you've got Enterprise, you've got Original Series, and you've got Next Gen. Next Gen obviously encompasses DS9 and Voyager, because where we're playing it's post Dominion War, so you don't bump into any canon really. I think it's post Voyager as well, if off the top of my head. It's one of the written adventures that Modiphius, Mophidius, whatever their name is, I can never remember, it's shocking, but I will put a link to the website where Star Trek is in the notes. But where was I going with this? Yeah, so you've got 3 eras of play, and there are races that are unique to a period. So Trill, I believe, are only allowed to be played during the Next Generation, even though obviously Curzon Dax was live during the original series. I'm not sure, and he was a Federation ambassador. I don't think you can play them in that. I'd actually have to look it up, and I don't think I've got my copy of Star Trek to hand. Hold on. Here we are. Right, let's go through it. Right, so you can only play in the base game the Federation. I think there are plans to do Romulan and Klingon adventures, and be able to play as characters from and crews from those races. I don't know about Cardassians, I don't know about anyone else, but from what I've heard, pretty much the plan is Romulans, Klingons, after Star Trek. At some point you are able to play using the supplements to play, other races, but not when we started talking about doing this set of rules were we going to do that. So we've just went with the base races in the main book. So you get Andorians, so you can play Andorians in all eras of play. Bajorans, obviously next gen. Betazoids are next gen only. The Nobulans are all eras of play. Obviously humans are all eras of play. Tellarites are the same. Trill are actually original series in next generation, rather than just next gen. And then Vulcans are all eras of play, and that's all the races that you can play from the beginning. It's got good character generation set of character generation. It lets you basically choose your own path to what, like whether you want to be security or your command or science or medic or engineering, or operations. So those are the 6 different branches of operation within Starfleet. So we give you a random environment which you grew up in, like your home world, isolated colony, starship, like home world, different things, and then you've got upbringing, so whether you were Starfleet or agricultural or artistic, and then you get Starfleet Academy, so what track you went down. So you can either pick or you roll on the random table. With our GM, it was choose what race you want to play, do a random homeworld, do a random upbringing, but you can take your own command, like if you want to do command or security or whatever. And then you've got career events as well, so there's a number of different career events that you can go through, and then you get finishing touches, so adding names and personal details and adding your values, so your character's values, so they're important as part of your character's core, what they're all about basically. I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure it's to help, like during the game and during your campaign or whatever you're doing for the GM. So if something happens that your values are challenged or whatever, that could come up. But I really like the set of rules. I'm really enjoying it. I think the reason why we chose Infinity was purely because it's the Infinity RPG, but I also, when we picked Mutant Chronicles, because the group actually splits in 2 to play 2 different games. We used to play as one single group, but we're 2 groups of RPGs. I mean, we're still one big group of players, but it was 2 groups of players for a particular game. When we chose to do Mutant Chronicles, I think it was along the lines of, this is a good set of 2D20 is a good set of basic rules to play. We think that the other thing about the game that has been quite interesting is I have had to change my style of play, because in the vast majority of games that I play, I'm a barbarian, I'm a fighter, I'm a ranger, I'm a soldier, I'm that kind of character. In Through the Breach, I was a mage, but at the same time, I was a big, massive mage that smacked the crap out of people with a hammer. So I might be I was a magical tank. So I play tank characters for the most part. And I play an Andorian security, not a Bajordan. I was going to play Andorian security guy, but I play a Trill security guy, and I've had to stop myself from grabbing a Ferengi by the throat and just chucking him in an interrogation room and leaving him there to sweat it out, because I'm not allowed to do that kind of thing because it's against Starfleet regulations. And to be fair, my character's already been busted down from first lieutenant to second lieutenant for looting, which I'm not getting to what the hell happened in that particular adventure, but we basically got pulled before a court martial and got away with lots and lots and lots and lots of things because we rolled lots and lots and lots and lots of critical successes, which of course the only person that didn't with the looting was me, where I failed. They weren't too happy, let's just say, the admirals on the court martial board, and we get treated like shit because, well, they think we're shit examples of Starfleet officers. Well, we're trying to redeem ourselves right now, and hopefully that will work. But yeah, honestly, I have to stop myself from playing my usual, just grabbing somebody and dragging them into an interrogation room or slapping them about the place, because I'm a Starfleet security officer. I have to stop that kind of behaviour. But it's what the thing has also done, which is quite unusual for us because very little of the time do we plan anything. We just go, right, let's do this. But it's not only has it had us plan more, it's had us roleplay more. I know it sounds weird, but a lot of the time, because we've had like big groups, it's been less about role playing, more about throwing dice, which sometimes can be fun. But what we had lost a lot of was the role playing aspect of the gaming, because there were so many of us. We just had to get through it, rolling dice and trying to do this. And when we played Dark Heresy, there was an element of the role playing involved, but it was a new GM, and I think we kind of took the piss a little bit. That is the thing about the way that this has come about. That this kind of shift, I don't think when we first started doing it we really had shifted back to normal role players, but between having to work together, having to change how every one of us, apart from Melanie, I don't know whether she'd like me calling her Mel or not, but she's new to the group, but she was a LARP Star Trek player in Germany, where she's from, and obviously she has been very much playing the role of a Starfleet officer more than the rest of us, but I think that has infected the rest of our play, the rest of the group's play, and that we realised that we have to change the way that we have been playing before, and working as and acting like Starfleet officers, which is important because that's part of the role playing, and hopefully that'll continue. I don't know what it's been like with the other bunch because they've been doing Warhammer RPG, so hopefully, because the groups are probably going to get mixed up a little bit, we'll get the same with them. I think that's probably it for that particular section. We'll move on to the next section or subject, whatever. So I've been thinking about it over the last couple of days. Actually, probably the last week since I recorded the first one. Is it a week? Maybe only a couple of days, I'll be honest. My brain kind of just messed up. I did a little bit on Lux APS, or Lux, Lux APS, which is on. That's the YouTube channel of Luke Fells. Nice guy, really nice guy. As I've said before, I've dealt with him personally. I was going to do a little bit on, but a lot of the stuff would be very much central to me, because obviously the places in Scotland like Common Ground Games and Static Games and Scots Models, all of which I highly recommend you go into and buy stuff from. If you live in the area, if you live in Stirling for Common Ground Games, if you live in Glasgow for Static and all the surrounding area, Static and Scots Models. Scots Models is where I get my Vallejo paints, apart from my airbrush ones. But these are three businesses that are important to the hobby. So what I was actually going to talk about, what I decided I was going to talk about, is supporting your local game store. Now, I know a lot of places, from talking to other people, is a lot of people have had a bad experience with a local game store, and that the staff or the owners have been very truculent or bad tempered, or had shitty customer service very much of the time. Which I'll be honest, with a lot of geeks and nerds, I've been around them my whole damn life. They can be very, very shit at customer service. It's not something that really is inbuilt in them. Some of them are good at it, some of them are not, and sometimes it can really shine through. Somebody's bought. A lot of the time, when you get people who open game stores, it's somebody who loves gaming, and what they haven't realised is it's a business. First and foremost, it's a business. In order to keep it running, you need to run it like a business, which means you need to have good customer service. You need to run it like a business. You can't just run it like somewhere where your pals can come play games with you. You have to run it like, right, this has to get done, that has to get done, the next thing has to get done. I think this is the problem with a lot of people who go and open gaming stores, is that they don't realise that they have to run it this way. They have to have good customer service. Doesn't matter if it's the first person's first time in the shop or the person's 100th time in the shop. You treat them exactly the same. I know this happens, but the most important thing for this hobby is not the online stores where you can buy stuff for cheaper than you can get them everywhere else. It's the local gaming stores, because local gaming stores is where you get the new players coming in. You do get new players coming in having watched stuff like tabletop or Twitch channels or whatever. Excuse me. But where did they buy the stuff? They buy this. My first ever purchases for a game was a game. It was in Games Workshop. The first thing I ever bought myself was Space Marine. I've had Battletech bought for me. I had, various other things bought for me. But the first thing I ever bought myself was Space Marine, Epic Space Marine. That was my first purchase for myself. And this is the thing. It was in Games Workshop, but Games Workshop, as much as it is now a Games Workshop only place, back when I first started, it was a local game store. It wasn't just Games Workshop. There was Battletech, there was Ralph Partha stuff, there was, well, I suppose Battletech had the Ralph Partha stuff, but you know, it wasn't just Games Workshop. There was other people's models, there was other people's games. You know, there was Judge Dredd and loads of other things that weren't Games Workshop, but Games Workshop supported the hobby. It wasn't until, I think it was the 90s, the early 90s, when they started running just their own stuff in the stores, which, you know, has helped them, I'm sure, a lot, because obviously they're not bringing, stock in from elsewhere. It's on their own stock, which, as somebody who has worked in retail and understands the supply chain a little better than most people, that's important. Games Workshop are their own supply chain. I don't know whether or not their paints are still in the house now. I know Coat d'Arms was the company that did them before. I know there are other companies that have done them before, so I'm not entirely up on that. But Games Workshop are their own supply chain for the models. Games Workshop are their own supply chain for the terrain. You know, all the stuff that's important for keeping the hobby running is them. It's through them. Nobody else. Whereas, you know, obviously back in the day they had to have the supply chain from other people, and that's how, you know, obviously local game stores have to deal with. Now, there's also a lot of local game stores that pander a bit more to card games, because that's where, sorry, I'm a bit gassy today, where a lot of these stores get their constant income. Now, this can be good, but it can also be detrimental. So it's something that you got to look out for. But if they have a Games Workshop section and you play Games Workshop, spend money in your local game store. Even if you're paying like a $5 every week or two to buy paint or brushes or glue or whatever. The thing is, if there's 50 people in the area that game and they're all spending a $5 a week or every 2 weeks, it's not massive, but you know, it keeps, don't get me wrong, that's a minimum number, but, or a low number, but you know, it keeps, you know, it's only £250 a week, and it probably doesn't keep the lights on, but you know, it's the thing I can't not talk about is spending money in your local game store, keeping your local game store afloat, because not only are they there for you, they're always there for the new players. I know Stirling, the Common Ground games, Steve runs Cub Scout, is it Cub Scouts or Scouts, weekly or monthly games nights with them on the night that he's normally closed for customers, which, you know, you wouldn't think was a big thing, but it is. But yeah, local game stores are where new players are going to come from, because they're going to go and buy their stuff, the first stuff, from a game store. Everyone I know, practically, who first started out gaming, unless it was like their mum or dad that brought them into it. Even me, my first buying experience of my own stuff was in a game store. I mean, I might be a little bit old school because, you know, let's be honest, I'm fucking old, and my gaming life is almost as long as my actual life. So, you know, I might be a dinosaur in that respect, but I don't think I am. I think most people who play Games Workshop games, their first experience of buying stuff was in a shop. You know, most people who play Games Workshop games, you know, they get brought into it by a mate, but they go to a local Games Workshop and play the games with each other, or they go over to each other's house and play it. But, you know, their first experience is going into Games Workshop. The first experience of buying their own figures is very often Games Workshop, or in another shop, depending on the area. And that is an important, nay, absolute imperative that we keep that kind of place open. Now, I know sometimes I buy my paint from other places than Static or Common Ground, or I say I buy all my Vallejo paints from Ian Scott's or Scott's Models. I don't always, but when I'm in Glasgow, I make a point of going both to Static and to Ian Scott's and Scott's Models and spending money in the places. And I never spend a fiver at a time. I spend 30 or 40 quid a time in both of the places. On paint most of the time, to be actually every time I'm in Ian Scott's, it's paint or paint related stuff. It's never any models. If I go into Static, I might buy an RPG book. If I look at it and go, ooh, I quite like that, I think I want that in paper rather than just having it in PDF, because pretty much everything I have is in PDF nowadays, because it's just easier for me to keep the collection in PDF rather than having fucking hundreds of books and drive Fiona insane. But yeah, that's the thing. You've got to keep these places. I keep on repeating myself. You've got to keep these places alive to keep the hobby alive. This is the same as, I think I talked about it last week. I might not have talked about it last week, but I'll repeat it myself again if I have. You've got to bring new players into the games. You can't just be in your little circle and not help bring other people in. Now, I do remember that I did talk about your family last week, but there's also bringing other players that aren't family in. So if you've got a mate that reads Black Library games, Black Library books, right, and you play 40k or Warhammer or Age of Sigmar, now you say, well, I play the actual games, do you want to have a shot at it? You know, you go into work and you meet somebody that is also a gamer, you know, you get talking. Or somebody who used to game, when they find out that you game. I know for a lot of people there's a stigma attached to being a gamer and not a computer gamer, being a board gamer, role player, war gamer. But motherfuckers, you need to get over it. You need to get over that shit. I have been gaming my entire fucking life, and I don't give a shit who knows that I game. I honestly couldn't give a flying monkeys. Never have given a flying monkeys. I go, yeah, I game. So the fuck what? I was a bouncer for fucking 10 years. Right? I honestly gave a shit what anyone said about my gaming. Nope. Couldn't care less. What are you going to say about it? I game. It's my hobby. I enjoy it. I fucking love it. What are you going to say about that? You play football? You watch football? Yeah, so do I. Don't love it as much as I fucking love gaming. I love hockey. I love sports. I love martial arts. Did martial arts. I don't love it as much as I love gaming. I love the UFC. I love watching Thai boxing. I love watching obscure fucking fights. Don't love it as much as I love gaming. And I really don't give a crap. Who knows? It's not anything that bothers me whatsoever. But I do know people. I've had people say to me, "Oh, I don't want to talk about it at work." It's like, why not? It's like, people think I'm weird. So? You're fucking weird. Get over it. Live with it. Talk about it. You might find that there's a closet gamer in your work waiting to be rescued from the closet of gaming. You know? I honestly don't understand it. I understand I live in Scotland, and I understand in Scotland there is a culture where you can't be a geek, you can't be a nerd, or you get treated like shit. I understand that. I honestly don't give a fuck about it. You know, I get bullied all the way through school, so the fuck what? Sometimes I say so the fuck what. But it doesn't stop me from talking about gaming. It was never about the gaming side of it. It was that people just didn't like me. I can understand that. Sometimes I don't like me. But yeah. So I went off on a rant there again. That's going to happen a lot. Get used to it. So yeah, it's important that we all do our best to bring as many people into the hobby as we can. Now, I say this as I've been looking at what has been happening with the Age of Sigmar European Team Championship selection for the English team, and people have been talking about the hobbies getting more mainstream. You know, we need to understand this is happening. You know, we want to bring more people in, so you know it's not just going to be, you know, fucking the best players in the England that get to play in the team, because let's be bloody honest, a lot of players in tournaments and what have you are stinky motherfuckers. You know who you are. Don't pretend that you don't know who you are and how smelly you actually are. Now, I know a lot of people who, you know, get that smelly do so because there's the thing in their head that makes them not. But for lots of you, it's just you're smelly. You don't wash enough. If you're going to go out in public, you're going to go to a tournament, you're going to go to a fucking show, wash you smelly fucker. Put fucking deodorant on. I hate the smelly bastards that go to tournaments and fucking conventions and you have to fucking stop yourself from bolting all the fucker. Especially when you have to play the fuckwit. Sorry. Ranting again. But, honestly, there is a bunch of people in the world that think most gamers are smelly. Most gamers aren't smelly. Most gamers have a sense of hygiene. It's just the proper one, like fucking smelly fuckers. Aren't a lot of the time good players because they're a bit anal about the gaming, because they're not anal about anything else. Sometimes I have to censor myself. I have said a few things that would offend other people, right? A lot of the time I don't mind offending people, but sometimes the words that I say, I come from Scotland, and there are places and there's some words that I'm allowed to say. Well, not really allowed to say, but I can say and get away with it a bit more here. I can't get away with saying in other places, so I have to tone myself down. But as I was saying, just because you're the best player doesn't mean you're the best team player. That's what I think is trying to get put across in the ETC selection process. Is just because you have been, you know, the best Actually, the best player in England is actually in the ETC team, I believe. So, you know, it's not about being the best player. It's about being a team player, about being able to interact with people properly and not being a twat. This is the thing that a lot of gatekeepers in the hobby have not seemed to pick up, is that they're no longer the majority in the hobby. They're actually the minority. I see a lot of people going, "Oh, women shouldn't play in gaming." Why the hell not? Explain that to me. Why should women not be allowed to play? Or transsexuals or gays or whatever. It's like, motherfucker, who gave you the fucking right to tell people that they're not allowed to play? Nobody? Well, shut the fuck up. Let people who want to play. That is my bottom fucking line. I don't give a shit who you are. Are you not going to be a complete and utter twat? Then yeah, fine, play. I don't mind playing me. If you're going to be that guy, then I'm going to have problems playing me. But as long as you don't play. See, the thing is, I can deal with that guy, and we all know who that guy is. Those of us who are seasoned gamers know who that guy is. The guy that has to play competition armies no matter what game he's playing, or big blocks of cheese, a big massive block of cheese of an army, because he knows that army, that the army that he's got is not going to beat your army no matter what, but he's going to throw as much cheese at you as he possibly can. For example, I have never played Space Wolves with Wolfen. We want to know the reason? I started playing back in the day, or like early days of Rogue Trader and Space Marine. So my Space Wolf armies are mostly made up of claws, blood claws, swift claws, or sky claws. Now, I do have other ways of playing my Space Wolf army, but it's the way I prefer playing my Space Wolf army because it's more fun for me. I like charging ahead and just smashing them into stuff. It's fun. For like the battle report I did for my YouTube channel, I didn't play in that particular way, though it wasn't far off it, let's be honest. There was blood claws, there was sky claws, there were swift claws, and there was wolf guard with jump packs, and there was some grey knights, or grey knights, grey hunters. I don't generally use grey hunters that much. Other people might tell you otherwise, but I don't. I use dreadnoughts, I use predators, I use land speeders sometimes. I do have other ways of playing, but my actual favourite way of playing has always been my favourite way of playing with a Space Wolf army is 4 packs of blood claws, a pack of sky claws, which back in the day were assault wolves, and bikes, a pack of bikes. I have a list that I would love to play with, which is it's 4 pack. It's a 2,500 point army. It's 4 packs of blood claws with Wolfguard battle leaders, blood claw battle leaders, melter guns or plasma guns, and a plasma pistol with each unit. Ragnar Blackmane, Wolfguard battle leader on bike, and a rune priest. Because fuck it, I don't need a wolf priest. Because Ragnar Blackmane's hard ass as fuck. Or so I think. 2 packs of sky claws, full packs of sky claws, a pack of swift claws, pack of long fangs, full pack of long fangs with the extra bolter guy, and a termy with cyclone, 2 predators, venerable dreadnought with shield and axe, and a pack of 5 Wolfguard on bikes. That would be my favourite list to use against anything. But I haven't played a 2,500 point game in a while, so that's how I would love to play, especially under this edition, because I think that it just go wee right across the table and I go smash, smash, and let's have some fun. But yeah, I mean, I am a close combat orientated player. I don't play cheesy armies. That's a fluffy Blackmain Company army. That's a very fluffy Blackmain Company army. Well, maybe if I took out a unit, a pack of Blood Claws and put a pack of Grey Hunters in, but 3 packs of fucking Blood Claws and a pack of Grey Hunters and Sky Claws and Swift Claws. Yeah. So I can play whack characters or that guy characters, players, as long as I'm not playing a game where they play competitively. The thing is, you can always tell with them when you're playing a game that they don't play competitively with them, and then they start playing competitively, and you're like, right, okay, this is the minute that I stop playing you. I've talked about it before in other places. A guy that I used to play boat action with and 40k with, and various other games with, and there are many a time where I've been like, right, nope, not playing you that game anymore. Why not? You started thinking about, never mind actually started doing, you started thinking about playing tournaments with it. Nope, not doing it. You're a dick with your tournament games, and you're my mate. But when he's not playing tournament games, he's not a dick. He's a really good guy. But when he plays the tournament games, he's a fucking dick, and I can't deal with him. So, and people going, oh, you shouldn't knock whack guys, you shouldn't knock that guy. Why not? He's not fun to play with. This is something I've been saying. I need to stop playing with. Say playing with, because it sounds bad in my head. Right. I think there's enough of that. I've done lots of ranting today. Thing I'm going to talk about is Painting All the Minis. Painting All the Minis podcast. Website and Facebook group. So, Painting All the Minis, it was started by Dan Adam, who's a really good guy. I've had a good conversation with him, good rapport with the guy. He started Facebook, I think it was the Facebook group, and the podcast, so it's the Painting All the Minis podcast ramble, and then the website. Now, a lot of the time when you get a Facebook community, there is a lot of negativity, there's a lot of bile and crap that you have to go through in order to deal with the good guys. You get the trolls, you get the, oh, that looks shit, with no explanation of why they think it looks shit, just to make you feel bad. Paint All the Minis, they do not have that. If you ask for criticism or advice or whatever, it will be given in the best possible way you could ever get advice on Facebook ever. I have had 3 or 4 conversations with different people about advice on doing things. I haven't taken the advice because I've decided to go another route, but that advice I will use at another point. I've been pointed in the direction of good books on the subject, which I need to pick up, so that's why I went in different directions with the stuff and haven't done it, but we'll go back and do it with something else. But also I have had very good interactions with everyone involved in the group. The Paint All the Minis podcast Ramble is a great podcast. I know I'm talking about another podcast while I'm recording a podcast, but I think it's important. The same as why I point everyone in the direction of Lux APS through my YouTube. It's pushing traffic their way. It keeps them going. It keeps me going, doing what I'm doing because they're doing what they're doing. But yeah, Podcast Ramble has guys like Gerald Johnson. I think Gerald Johnson's been on it, but look, fellas from Lucas APS has been on it. Ronnie from Mantic's been on it. Rick Priestley's been on it. Gavin Thorpe's been on it. Some of the guys from Warlord have been on it. Yeah, but there's normal people that's been on. I've been on it once, but that was great because I got to talk about Battle Taking Malifaux, and I was talking about Battle Taking Malifaux. The website is a new addition to the media of Paint All the Minis. It is a really good website. It's got some really interesting guides on how to paint stuff. It has some really interesting videos, some nice battle reports, features and what have you, that are also featured on the website, not the website, the Facebook group. But also there's a lot of collaboration between people who are members of the Facebook group but are also YouTubers in their own right. Excuse me. They've taken the time to make videos for Dan and the Paint All the Minis website, taking time out of what they could do with their own website, which I think is a massive thing about, and it should tell you a massive thing about the Paint All the Minis group, is people are willing to take their time out from doing their own thing. They could help themselves to help other people, to help the group. It's honestly one of two, maybe three, maybe four Facebook groups that I engage with regularly. The other one, hobby wise, is Lux APS, purely because it's where I get my advice on terrain. When I've looked at a video and gone, I actually don't have a fucking clue what I'm talking about, what he's talking about. I do have a clue what he's talking about, but I need some advice, or maybe something he's not done yet, or maybe something I fucked up that he has done, and maybe I've not been doing it right, like dipping seafoam trees into latex. Apparently you're not meant to put the foam flock on before you put them in the latex. Apparently that's the wrong thing to be doing, which I've done. But now I don't do it anymore. I just dip the seafoam in before I put the normal foam on. It's a fucking rookie move, but I'm a rookie. I'm only doing it 4 months. Not actually finished the fucking project yet, to be perfectly honest. I finished some hills. That's not true. I have finished projects. I've finished hills. But you know what I mean. Where was I? Right, yeah. So Paint All the Minis, Facebook, podcast, website. Check them all out. I recommend you start the podcast from podcast number 1 because it's the best place to start any podcast. It is 100 odd episodes long. I started about episode 76, 77 when 77 was out. So I didn't have that much less than you to go through, but I went through it one by one, and I got to listen to some of the greats in the industry, and it shows you how really down to earth a lot of these people are, and also how willing they are to give their time to people who want to further the hobby rather than further themselves, which is what you find sometimes with people who want to do this kind of thing, want to do, YouTube, what have you. They look out to further themselves rather than further the hobby, and that's not a helpful thing at all. So, yeah. What the thing is as well is Dan Adam, who runs everything, who's the paint all the minis guru, has not been gaming for a long time. He's only been gaming a couple of years. It's not like me, where, he's been doing it for 30 fucking years. 31 now, actually. But, he's not been doing it that long. So, he's kind of not got any of the preconceptions guys like me have about certain things. But I've been trying to push myself away from those preconceptions in the last year or two, just purely because of different things that are going on with me. I'm trying to push all those conceptions away. I'm trying to do different things. So I had never used the Games Workshop layer system until a couple of months ago. I like how it comes out sometimes. I don't like how it comes out other times, but I like how it comes out sometimes. And I've been using the new Games Workshop paints for about 2.5 years, maybe 3. How long ago did they come out again? So actually it's probably about 2.5, 3 years. Yeah, it's before I started seeing my partner, Fiona. So we've been together just over 2 years. Jesus, it doesn't feel like that, that. And I mean that in a good way. I mean that in the best possible way. It doesn't feel like two and a bit years. It feels like no time, but at the same time, it feels like forever. I've meant that the other way around, but you get the gist. So I've been using them for about 2.5 years, 3 years, and I've never used the layer system. I've always only ever used dry brush. But not only ever use dry brush, because I'll like wash and highlight and what have you. Well, it was always base coat, wash it, dry brush, highlight it, or darkest shade and then dry brush it to the lightest shade. I've done that before. It's fucking annoying. It's hard to get right. Anyway, but as I was saying, I was encouraged to try the layer system out by somebody. I can't remember who it was. It was actually looking at the painting that they had done with this figure. Looked better than anything I could do with a dry brush highlight. So I decided to try the layer system. And I also edge highlight stuff now as well as dry brush highlight. Now, I'll probably never stop using the dry brush highlight. I use layer highlight for certain things because it's easier doing the layer system than it is, or it's less space you've got to do the dry brush highlight, so it's easier doing the layer. But I will probably always use edge highlighting. Not that great at it now, but I'm getting better at it, I think. Which is also something that I always encourage people to do, is try new things. Whether it's painting, whether it's doing terrain when you've never done terrain, whether it's playing a new game. I encourage anyone who plays only Games Workshop games, try something else. If you've got an interest in World War II, try that. If you've got an interest in the Ancients, try that. if you get interested, try, another company's system. Try that. Find somebody to try it with. Because, if you don't like it, you don't like it. It's fine. You're allowed to not like things. If you like it better than the Games Workshop games, that's fine. Because you're allowed to like things better than the Games Workshop game. I have met many people who, before they met me, were purely Games Workshop players from work. I worked for Virgin Tech Sport for a very short time, and I met a few guys who had never ever ever done anything but Games Workshop. Brought one of them along to the Glasgow club, and I think we played something historical. Can't remember, but it's his first ever time doing something other than Games Workshop. He enjoyed it. He loved it. When I stopped working for them, I never saw him again. But that's fine. I hope he has gone on and played other things. He talked about doing historical stuff, which is cool. That was bringing something in that had never done anything other than Games Workshop. Brought them to do something else. I think it's important for yous all to try something different. Get your head out of the Games Workshop space. Get your head out of Games Workshop's arse. This is me being a wee bit better about Games Workshop. I will absolutely be fucking honest, because I have went for job interviews and not got jobs. Even though I'm pretty much certain I'm the best person for the job, and so is everyone around me. Think you're the best person for that job. Games Workshop obviously don't think so, or the manager doesn't think so, or he's brought in one of the regulars. More than likely one of the fucking regulars. That's what I don't understand. Why bring in a fucking regular? He's gonna favour his mates. Everyone knows that. Everyone knows that. Fuck it. Anyway, less of my bitterness. And I'm not actually ever going to sit in a Games Workshop Glasgow ever again until the manager fucks off somewhere else. Yes, very bitter, I know. Shut up. It's not helpful, but it's the way I feel. I'm never going to spend. I also have this thing about not spending money directly with Games Workshop. I'll buy them from everything from Element Games or off eBay, because I won't spend money directly with Games Workshop. I know it's childish, but hey, I'm a wargamer, for God's sake. I play with toy soldiers. I like to be childish once in a while. Yeah, so I buy all my Games Workshop stuff from Wailing Games. Don't buy it from anywhere else, except from Triple Helix. So I was lying when I said that. So I buy all Games Workshop stuff from Triple Helix and Element Games. Very rarely do I buy from Triple Helix, mostly it's from Element. But, that's me being very, very petty about things. But that's fine. I'm allowed to be petty. I'm an old guy. What else was I going to say? There's a lot of things I want to say, but I don't know whether or not it's best to just leave it for another episode, which I might just do, because this is now almost an hour and 10 minutes, and sometimes I think if you go beyond 2 or 3 hours it's too much, especially when it's you talking yourself. I think when you're doing like interview episodes, it's good to do over an hour. But when it's an episode of you talking yourself, it's maybe not the best thing. So I'm going to bring it to a close for today, and say I hope you enjoyed episode 1. Hope you enjoy this episode, and I'm going to say good night and happy hobby.